Tomb Raider, the definitive edition, is it's a kind of re-release of Tomb Raider on Xbox One. Previously very successful on Xbox 360. We really loved it. We gave it
a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Prestigious 9 out of 10.
Prestigious 9 out of 10 for one of the best action adventure games on the 360, without
Absolutely.
a doubt. You know,
So what we thought we'd do here, just to kind of, since it's coming out on Xbox One, is just have a side by side and just see, is it really that different?
Yeah, well, this is supposed to be the definitive edition. In my eyes, that would mean it is the best edition.
Right. I guess in a more loose sense, you just say, well, it's like a Game of the Year edition. Like you get all the DLC, it's the whole package, it's the full thing.
Right, I've watched that like so many times now. Who takes her out of that hole? Because they disappear straight away. Like an arm picks her up and drags her out of what was a previously closed hatch, and then they disappear. I've never noticed it before. And then she makes this ridiculous leap, and who dragged her out?
You're getting a bit distracted.
Was it?
Let's get back to the review.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get back to it later in the ghosts of this ship. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
At this point, we're looking at CG animation stuff. So basically, we're not expecting great differences here. But what are supposed to be the big differences between these two games?
okay, so big differences are it's a hard one because they've basically given it like an HD gloss, I guess. Focusing mainly on Lara. So they've completely torn apart the character model from the original Xbox 360 version, which you can see on the left, and they've basically rebuilt it. So it's very subtle, and it's really only when you're sort of staring at her head on that you'll notice. I mean, she looks a little bit more realistic. She looks a lot more like the original promotional art, in my opinion. Her cheeks are a little bit fuller. Like, it's very, like, you won't notice unless you look for it. And the big one is her hair.
Right.
Her hair is now, instead of just being like a clump of material, like in a ponytail,
Right.
each strand of hair has been individually animated.
Yeah. I guess we're now beginning to see gameplay, and you sort of do notice there with those two character models where the Xbox One Lara has more kind of loose hair.
Yeah.
There's less of it is tied back, so there's a lot more movement kind of going on.
See, and that is both a plus and a minus because I think her hair looks like wire now.
Right.
Like loads of wires coming out of her hair like some sort of Marvel villain. But, you know, it's a first step forward. I guess that's really what this is from Crystal Dynamics and United Front, the guys from Sleeping Dogs, jumped in to do a little bit of work on it. I think this is like, you see here, like, it's a lot more detailed in her face and like she's got all that mud or blood all over her and it's pretty horrible. Like, to be honest, this is a really gruesome game anyway, and just like some of the extra detail, it's like, poor Lara. I just want to like tron myself in and give her a hug.
I'm just noticing here that she's hanging upside down, and with the slightly looser hair, it's still kind of
It's still
sticking
sits.
to her face.
I just,
But okay, I mean, we'll call that one an oversight for now. One thing I had noticed though is that the Xbox One version some of it is just the way it's been captured, but it looks a little bit darker,
yeah, it definitely is
A little bit.
darker.
more atmospheric. Do you think?
Totally. I was really impressed with the world anyway. But when you get outside to some of you don't really notice it in this cave section, which is a shame. But once you start getting to the outside locales, even just if you've played it after about an hour or so, you'll get the bow and you'll get the gun and you do all of that sort of stuff. Shoot my first gun tutorial and what have you. And then you get outside and it turns to daytime and it just looks absolutely incredible because they've ramped the amount of particle effects like through the roof. So like I think they basically like tripled what you're seeing, and that just means it looks super pretty when it's like stuff's on fire or if there's leaves. And again, it's so surface deep. Like no one really cares, but it just makes that world look so nice. It's such a beautiful game, and
It's not quite the upgrade though we saw with like the dual releases of things like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, because that, while it wasn't a huge leap on Xbox One versus the Xbox 360, there was a sense of the draw distances are a bit richer, deeper, the colours are a little more detailed and things.
Here's the problem. It's a beautiful game. It's still beautiful on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
The Xbox, it doesn't look... There's nothing here to genuinely make me want to pay 45 quid, whatever the RRP is, for this, because if you haven't played it on 360, then the question you need to ask yourself is why, and you should probably stop listening and just go and buy this. If you haven't played it, you need to play it. It really is one of the best games that came out, not only last year, but just across the 360's lifetime, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, for me too. I think it's one of the games of the generation. It was absolutely spot on.
However, if you've played this before, like, I can't imagine a world where you care about Lara's, like, new hair so much that you feel compelled to go and buy this. Just get your Xbox 360 out of the cupboard or wherever it might be and just play through it on 360 again, because really all it comes with is new Lara, pretty particle effects, which you won't notice until you stop moving and stare at the screen, and extra maps, like DLC maps for the multiplayer, which personally, absolutely love. Sort of happy with the fact that I can jump back into the multiplayer and there's going to be a new community of people that aren't basically being assholes and taking advantage of all the little tricks and what have you. So that's still really good, but I already had those maps on the 360 version, and, you know, it's sort of like, there's nothing here to justify the price. There's nothing here. It's not, you know, this doesn't look better than a Dead Rising. Doesn't look, you know, it's not bordering on photorealistic like Forza. The world isn't, you know, as impressive as Dead Rising's. Like Dead Rising, for all its faults, it's still an incredible world, you know, and even to a point, like, it's good looking, but it might not look better than GTA still, despite the fact that it's now on this next gen platform, and that's a problem, especially when they're asking for a lot of money.
Right. I mean, I guess that's the thing is, if you didn't play Tomb Raider last gen, then I guess the simple message is, yeah, you should buy this. This is a great game. It's well worth getting. We highly recommend it. You'll have a great time. It's not the best looking Xbox One game, but it is slightly better looking than the 360 version. So if you have the Xbox One, absolutely pick this one up.
Totally.
But there is no incentive if you already bought it to now upgrade, quote unquote, to this version, because you know, you're not really getting anything for the additional money, and it's not been released like, you know, a kind of HD classic might have done on Xbox 360, where a game might have been re-released from Xbox. It's not like Halo Anniversary, where you're getting a super new looking game and a really kind of attractive price point. You're getting more or less a full price point. Yes, all the extra multiplayer DLC, which is fine. That's great. It's a nice addition. But even if it were released on Xbox 360, I would expect a bit of a price drop.
Well, they've already put out a Game of the Year edition of this on 360 as well that had all of this stuff. So you're basically paying for a very minute HD upgrade, which sadly means we have to score this 7 out of 10. It's a wonderful game. If you haven't played it, it's a 9 out of 10, but there's just not, you know, enough here to justify rebuying it.